Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he's focusing on the future as he meets with U.S. President Barack Obama this hour in Washington. I want to bring in CNN White House correspondent Michelle Kosinski, who's in Washington, and CNN correspondent Oren Liberman, who's joining us from Jerusalem. First to Michelle, just to give us a sense of what you made of the two leaders meeting together. Obviously, there's been much said about their cold relationship. Tell us about the body language.
Right, all the tension that's been there over the past, I would say a few years, but really reaching ahead in this past year. Remember when Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu came here to speak before Congress, but didn't meet with President Obama at all. That was just a few months ago. All of those things that Netanyahu said about the Iran nuclear deal. I mean, that harsh criticism. So this is watched today with so much interest for him to come here to the Oval Office and for these two leaders with very different views on some key subjects to sit down in that Oval Office again and meet face to face after more than a year. And it was quite a different atmosphere than it was. I remember in 2011, Prime Minister Netanyahu was here, same place in the Oval Office, and it was said that he was almost schooling or lecturing President Obama in a way that many thought was kind of rude for him to be here in America and to be sort of giving him this lengthy explanation of Israeli history and the relationship. Well, this time there were long handshakes. There was this almost effusive thank you from Netanyahu to President Obama, talking about American generosity and to protect Israel's security. And that's really a key issue for this meeting, to talk about what's known as the Memorandum of Understanding, or the defense cooperation between these two nations moving forward. The U.S. supplies about $3 billion a year in aid to Israel, and that is expected to grow. So the feeling here today was really, let's mend these fences, it seemed. Let's move forward, and let's see how we can work together, Lynda.
Yeah, very good point, Michelle. And to Oren, on that point, it is very much in Netanyahu's interest to be quite pleasant, I guess, with Mr. Obama, given that he was there to ask for additional funding from the U.S.
And that was what both leaders stressed, both Netanyahu and Obama, talking about that MOU, that Memorandum of Understanding. And even Obama acknowledged that's what the bulk of the conversation will be about. Reports here that Netanyahu could ask for $4 or $5 billion. Now, as long as the Iran deal was still on the table, Netanyahu was very much criticizing that deal. But now that the deal is done, essentially there's nothing left to criticize, and Netanyahu immediately shifted gears, and we very much saw that today, shifting and focusing on the aftermath of the deal, which is that MOU, the military aid package, and what will come out of it. Now, Netanyahu knows this is a very slow process. The current MOU, the current aid package, doesn't end until 2018. So Netanyahu knows he's playing the long game here. He knows he has time, but he's starting to push. He's starting to work his argument there as to why that military aid package, as Michelle mentioned, about $3 billion a year, should be increased. Netanyahu also certainly knows one more thing, and that's that he has to work with President Obama for just over a year, and then he'll focus about working with the next president. So, Lynda, that's very much part of the calculation of this meeting, where both leaders working very hard, even if it's a prepared statement, to show that they're getting along.
It's certainly the case, and they certainly have a lot to discuss. Oren Liberman in Jerusalem and Michelle Kosinski at the White House, thank you both very much for joining us today.